Well, hello there. I am CJ Miller. I am in my kitchen in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And I'm at a counter where I do a lot of prep work. Uh, and basically, I have been doing a pretty good keto plan basically since Thursday night. And it is, by the time I have this, it will be Monday morning. But yeah, I'm going to continue on with my keto today. But come midnight tonight, when it's time for me to eat that later meal because my days and nights are all twisted. So I always stay up. I'm a late night person. And I have I'm up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. But I have a lot of chores to do and everything like that. So at night, but so that's cool. It just works out. My diet counts, they start over, refresh at midnight every night. That's anywhere from 11 a.m. till 11 p.m. I should say, anywhere from 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. That 2 hour stretch. I have a meal that I can have anytime there, and tonight it's going to be there's going to be bread involved. Okay, so and I'm doing a quick bread. This is very much like a biscuit recipe. Your biscuit starts out with the self-rising flour. And if you don't have self-rising, you can add the appropriate amount of baking powder and salt. To a cup, I think it's a teaspoon and a half or something. I don't know. You have to look up that ratio, but just adds a little bit of a baking powder and a pinch of salt or whatever, like maybe a quarter a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon and a quarter of a tablespoon. I think, whatever. But anyway, to make all-purpose flour, self-rising flour. But you could look that up and don't trust me on that. I'm not sure. I used self-rising, and then of course for the self-rising, I added a little bit more baking powder just to give it a little kick, a little more rise, and I blocked that with a little bit of cornstarch also. But what I did was I kept the ratio to the powders, and I put a little bit of in here. I used a little bit of Italian seasoning and a little extra oregano. And it's all gonna make sense in a minute, because I wanted a flavory kind of bread. And so what I want to do from there is I want to add a half part to 1 part. I want to use a half part, one half the amount of liquid. And a lot of people will use a buttermilk or something like that. And I did not have that on hand, but they'll use that for the acidity. And regular milk would work. Pretty much any kind of liquid, really. It's just But if you really want to kind of get a little activation, you can use a little acidity. And so what I used a product that has the acidity of tomatoes, and a little bit of acidity from some vinegar and lime juice and everything. And if you don't know, I put in about a half part of the salsa, and then you step that down with the 1/4 of an amount of the fat that you're going to use, a lard, a butter, oil, or something like that. In this case, I used mayonnaise because mayonnaise is primarily oil. It's a little bit of egg that's been whipped and emulsified, basically, with oil. And so it's really good to use in some baking if you kind of know what you're doing. That recipe is all over the place. Mayonnaise rolls, and they're really good if they're done right. And then with this, you don't want to overmix. You never want to overmix, and you want to just kind of get it, in the bottom of whatever you're cooking with, a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour, the same way as if you would treat a cake, And then, of course, what I'm going to do to add a little bit more texture and just to kind of stylize it, really, it's just, this is gratuitous, it's unnecessary. I'm going to take a little bit of the salsa and put on top of these. Why? Because I don't know. You know, it's a little bit of flavor. Now there's, you know, you could, yeah, just have fun with it. No, there's no reason that your bread has to be boring, right? You'll find bread in your bakery that has like a lot of products in it, a lot of tomatoes, peppers, and you know, so you could just kind of do this, you know, to have fun with it. Now to this, don't ever redip this. You know, there is egg in here from the mayonnaise and everything, and that's chemically cooked, but still, I don't like to double dip. You know, so you know, maybe you can get away with it a little bit, but you know, I really don't like the double dip. So basically, I did though. I had a spoon and I kind of put some out there, and then I wanted to dollop a little bit more on, so I did go in and double dip, but I had not spread. I don't believe I haven't spread it around the top yet, so I'll forgive myself. But really, you know, see, anyone can, if you're not vigilant, can double dip. You really shouldn't. But there's not much left of the salsa anyway. I'm probably not going to keep it. I'm probably done with it. But I do want to see how this works. And this is going to be a twist. But you can find, like I said, in your bakery, all sorts of breads that they'll make for you. And if you learn how to do some of these breads for yourself, you can be, yeah, your bread can be a hit at your next dinner party. Okay, I'm going to pause the video, pop these into an oven preheated to 425, and no, 15 to 20 minutes should do it for this. And these are going to be, you know, these are bun size because I want to make some hamburger patties, and I want to have something to creative to have my bread with. So let's see if these don't swell up too big. That's fine. This is, like I said, started out as sort of a biscuitish kind of recipe, what I told you, very similar. So, you know, but with something like this, I'd rather go too big than too small. If they do get too big, I can actually just cut them in half, you know. Okay, here we go. So, all right, the bread is done. It's resting. I'm going to go ahead and make a patty because I feel like, you know what, I've got to listen to my body. My body's telling me that it needs carbs. So I'm going to go ahead and make a burger and eat it. Lucky you, you get to see it. So this is a non-stick skillet, my omelet skillet. Basically, I put just a drizzle of oil in the bottom to spread it about, even though it's non-stick, but it's going to help get some consistency. It's non-stick, but hey, whatever, every little bit will help. You should not go above, like I said, your medium on your dial. Okay, so here we go. Little bit of, you know, seasoned to taste, you know, and have at it, you know. For me, it's going to be a little garlic seasoning. So here we have, and you can see it's just sliding around. It's not sticking. That's what we want. So reduce it. What we want to do is get a really good consistency. I'm going to flip this over and then smash it down with a spatula, you know. But what we can do to cut out, if we want to cut down on seasonings, we want a little flavor and everything, what we can do is we can just season one side of the patty. It's going to get, you're going to get a good coverage. One side of the patty. So I've got black peppercorn and a little bit of seasoning that has a bit of garlic in it and everything. It's a good seasoning blend. So do for you what works for you when you do hamburger patties. But yeah, if you want to cut down, you can get away with just seasoning one side of the patty. It'll stretch your pantry budget also. Oh, and cooks at home, guess what? Even though this is an 80% hamburger meat, 80% meat to fat, there's a lot of fat coming out of here. I have already drained off quite a bit. Smashing this burger down, making it flat as it's cooking, and you adjust the heat as you need to. Turn it up, turn it down throughout the cooking, but stay by and watch this. But when it starts to come out like this, you can go ahead and you can, siphon it off, pour it off into a safe receptacle. Follow the laws where you are, and remember that, greases and everything like that, they're not really good for your, for any of the piping, the drainage or anything like that, plumbing. So have a little receptacle that you can collect your fats in, and then you can dispose of them, you know, in a manner that is not going to involve you having to call a plumber. Okay, hang on. Oh, and frequent flipping of the patty and smashing it down quite frequently. Let me show you. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to drain this off. I come back here and we're going to watch this collect all over again, basically. Drained off the oil. Now watch this. There's a lot of oil. Even in the hamburger meat that is supposed to be of a leaner cut, there's still a lot in there, and you want to squish that out. You really do. Easier to do with two hands, but yeah. Don't use a metal spatula or something like this. Get in there, let's give it a flip. We got a good bit out, but you can see there's still more rendering coming out of here. So a few more seconds, this will be done too. Yeah, look at that. This is like, this is like the third rendering of this one patty. Although it's a lot less coming out, it's like, yeah, 80% beef my fat ass. That's what, I feel like maybe they kind of, mislabeled this particular batch a little bit. But ground beef is like that. It's like it's an estimate. Sometimes it slips through. This was probably closer to that 73% beef. Whatever. I don't know how they scored, but this was an 80%. But whew, whatever. It's gonna have flavor, but because that's where the fat comes from. But also, I want to drain all this off, right? Okay, we give a second patty. We give it the same treatment. And because this already has a little bit of oil from that last patty, we don't have to drizzle. That's only for your very first patty that you want to drizzle a little touch of something. Okay, but we take our spatula, flip this over, start smashing it down, start rendering some of the fat, squeezing some of that excess fat that I know it's in here. Dudes and dudettes, look at this first squish, and this hasn't even really started to cook thoroughly yet, and this is already swimming. So we're gonna drain this 2 or 3 times in our receptacle. See, a lot of professional grills, you doing this on a grill, you would smash it out like that, and then there's a grease trap. So all this kind of, everything just kind of runs off. Usually, maybe the grill is a little bit slanted, so there's a little bit of a slant, and the oil can run to a kind of towards you, but into a crevice or something along the edge of the grill. and it just pushes all that stuff off into a, at the end of your shift or in between, when you get a chance, when you're cleaning your grill, all that kind of stuff runs into a grease trap, and then you take it to a receptacle. But in a private kitchen, most of us, I know I don't, we don't have that convenience. So it is a matter of squishing the meat. If you're cooking a large bunch of people, for a large bunch of people, it's going to be harder to do this. I once did a dinner for 14 people, and we were having sausages, hot dogs, burgers, all done stovetop because I don't have a grill. And it was just, the reason why is because my place was the one to accommodate that. And it was in honor of a family member that had passed, and of course he loved a good grill. But we were makeshifting, and the dinner was in his honor. So we did everything that we could do on a grill, and we did it here. But I poured off as much of this as I can. But when you're cooking for that many people, you can't just constantly smash when you're doing other sides and everything as well. So it was a day, but yeah, we got it done. So I have smashed this down, and this is the second rendering. I've already drained once. I'm about to drain again, but look how much fat is in these burgers. Gotta squeeze it out. Got to. It's just so much better for your heart to do that. Your taste buds won't miss it. Most of us are going to turn around and put condiments all over it anyway. I know I'm going to use a little mayo and some cheese. So here I've squished this out. This is the third patty. This is the first rendering of fat from this patty. Now I want to talk about a word that I mentioned, flavonoid. Flavonoid is present in a lot of aromatics. Plant-based, really, is where it comes from. But it has some antioxidant properties and everything. But it's, flavonoid. In my mind, I think that they're linked, and sometimes the layman will group, incorrectly of course, anything that brings flavor, such as, fat from meat or something like that, into the realm of, into the blanket of flavonoid. But really, flavonoids come from plants, and they are antioxidant. When I think of this, when I think of aromatic vegetables, and the flavonoid that's really going to get in here is really going to come from that, blend that I'm using of the garlic, and it's got some onion powder in there also. So that's going to give us, probably better flavonoids if we were using actual garlic and onion and everything in a big old huge patty, But, yeah, that's so, it's not necessarily flavonoid. It's not necessarily what makes the flavor, but it is present in flavorful aromatic plants, in herbs and things like that. So check around and do some learning about food, learning about the chemistry of food is fun. Learning about the chemistry, it's a lot like mixing acids and bases in a chemistry lab. Well, cooking is like that, especially when it comes to balancing flavors. What would tone down something that's a little bit too salty? Or what if something's a little bit too bitter? How do we balance that, and if nothing else, if we make something and, oh my God, we've made it way too salty, like a piece of steak or something like that, well then you know what we do? If we can't serve it like that, but we're not going to waste it, we're going to take it, set it aside, grind it up later and use it for flavoring in a stew or a soup or something like that, You don't have to waste any kind of food. Okay, let me give this another squeezing, and let me show you what's in here. This oil coming out of here, this fat, really. Look at this. Terrible. Now be careful when you're squeezing out this oil, putting your fingers on top of the spatula and squeezing it down or whatever. You don't want to accidentally let your fingers slip and touch the bottom of this pan, because then you're talking about possibly a trip to the ER. You don't want that. Be careful. You know, a lot of people will have like a weight or something. Anything that can squeeze down, like a heavy weight, you'll see people use those on a grill. If you want to get a couple of those, but be careful because they will scratch your Teflon. So what we should do is innovate some weights that we can use in a pan to squeeze out and flatten things like this in a pan. They're not going to disrupt the Teflon. Okay, so flip and swish, and flip and squish, and it's nearly almost done. This patty, and there's 3 of them, and that's the amount of meat that I took out tonight. This is kind of an irregular looking shape. This poor guy here. He looks like a Pac-Man that couldn't get his mouth open wide enough. I don't know. I'm like, you know, I see things, my mind, I look at, everything is a Rorschach test for me, you know. Instead of giving people pieces of paper with clouds and with ink blots, they need to take people outside and let them look at clouds in nature. You know, it'd be a little bit more pleasant, less clinical. People will be less inclined to, I don't know, bullshit their way through something like that, and they'd be more relaxed than the therapist or psychiatrist or whoever is administering said evaluation would get, you know, a clearer picture of what's going on. You can't really psychoanalyze somebody from a Rorschach test anyway. What is this right here? Well, this is a bit of broccoli with the chopped off stalk. I don't know. What is this? M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. I don't know. Okay, so, but this is done. I'm going to flip this out. Hang on. And some of you know I saved these boxes from Coca-Cola Zero. I drink Coke Zero. And I save these for draining. A lot of times I'll line it with a paper towel or something like that. But this is, most I was squishing out, so this is going to be fun. And also, if you're on a diet like I am and you don't want to eat yet, go ahead and cook some food, because cooking food will satiate an appetite. Even if you're not pinching it, even if you're not tasting, even if you're not sampling, just being over a skillet while you're cooking, preparing a meal, will probably satiate your appetite. It'll give you a sense of satisfaction, because right now, I was hungry when I started making these. Right now I'm not. And it's so weird. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let these rest for a little bit, and I'm going to pause the video, and it'll probably be about another hour or so before I actually eat. So, you know, if something happens and I need to end the video, then I'll just do a tasting video following this one, because this video is already almost 25 minutes. But I'm going to pause the video right now. Oh, by the way, let me show you. These have rested. They are quite delicious. They did get quite a bit of rise and soft, and they're going to crumble because they're, like I said, basically biscuits, you know. But if you handle them, you can cut straight through and have a good bun. And yeah, it's really good. It's going to be kind of more of a biscuit than a slice of bread, but hey, in a pinch, and it's going to work great, because this has a lot of flavor. Do you remember I talked about the herbs and the salsa that I added to it to give it an extra bit of flavor? And you can see some of it has baked onto the top of it. Wonderful. And so then what we're going to do is find a cheese to put on our patty. Oh, but not yet. I'm just not ready to eat yet. you know, I'm really going to try to push through until midnight. Yay me, here I am about to have my meal, and let's see, let me try to. Actually, you know what? I better not play music. I'm gonna be surprised if they don't flag me for that little Mickey Mouse thing I did earlier. But yeah. So what am I gonna do? Oh, crumble burger. That's what I'll call it. And basically, it's a crumble bun. It's basically just a biscuit. I could have taken this dough, by the way, and I could have actually fried it in a pan. Uh, you can do that with this kind of with this type of. You actually can put in a pan and fry it that way. But yeah, what I want to do is I want to pick this up, bite into it, and see. And I need both hands to do it. But I'll come right back. Hang on. It is delicious. It is moist and crumbly. Biscuits tend to crumble, and this is basically a biscuit. I wonder if I had taken this and actually cooked it on the stove, the bread. I wonder how that would have worked out. But that's okay. It makes a great presentation. You just want to make sure that your people know that, by the way, this is going to crumble. So, you know what would be great? Oh my God. To do this. And by the way, this is also a very good, pot pie kind of crumb too. Crumbly, biscuity kind of thing. But what would work with this also would be to have like some gravy, some really brown gravy, and just kind of ladle it over. Like maybe don't even cut the kind of change it up. What I would do is I would take the biscuit, put it on the plate, put the burger on top of the biscuit, and then I would put the gravy, maybe with some onions, flavonoids, right, on top. That would really set this off. So this is a win, but the presentation of it as a sandwich is not so much a win. So this quick biscuit that I did as a quick bread does not quite work for sandwich bread. Now there are I've got other breads that I do make that make a wonderful dinner bread, that would make a great sandwich bread and everything like that too. This is a win for the bread, but it's not a good sandwich bread. I could bullshit you, but you look right at here. It's like, oh, it's basically a biscuit and it's gonna crumble. But you know what? I don't care. It's delicious. I'm gonna go get a fork though. Love and light, peace, and whew. I stuck it through. I did the keto. But now when you're doing something like a keto, every once in a while you gotta give yourself a break. But what you want to do is you want to give yourself a break in a way that's not going to wreck all the work that you've done. Why would you diet for 3, maybe 4 days, and then totally ruin all the work that you do in one day? Why would you do that? So a diet break is not the same as a cheat day. Dieting and then taking that diet break on something like a keto or something like that, that's actually part of the diet plan. Going 3 or 4 days and then taking a break where you do eat a little bit more carbs, because your body will need it at that point so that you don't slip into acidosis. That happened to me once accidentally. I'm not quite certain, but I think the symptoms were there, where it was just like I was new to this keto diet thing, and I was out with my sister, and we were running around doing the groceries, running some errands, and we were going to stop and eat somewhere, but she needed to get home, and it was late, and what I was really craving for was like some chicken. Um, fried chicken. I'm Southern, right? And I don't know. The chicken place was closed, so we just decided, you know what? Let's just go ahead and go home, and we'll try it another time. And by the time I got all my groceries upstairs, because I buy a lot of groceries at once, and we were putting them away, I was putting them away. I just felt this incredible, like, befuddlement. Like, what am I doing? I would like. Do you ever had that moment where you're like, from one moment, you're in a room, and then you almost forget what you're doing? Well, that was happening frequently. I was like, my thought was, and what I think was happening is I was not giving myself the oxygen that I needed. You do need carbs, otherwise you run a lot of risk. So that was my lesson, to not abuse this keto diet thing. Don't push it. Listen to my body. When it's time, it's okay to be a little hungry for it. It's not okay to be like, depriving yourself of what your body really needs. And so, any type of diet, communicate with your doctors about it. And if your doctor's out of reach, then by all means, communicate with the pharmacist about it. A trusted friend who happens to be in the medical field. Don't make radical changes to your diet without being educated about the information that you need in order to maintain what you need. And you can't just diet alone. Got to do some physical activity. That helps also. But then also, you can't just rely on physical activity and not change some dieting if you really need to get like in better shape. And you'll find also that there's no finish line with this. Woo, I have met my goal weight. I could relax. No. Then what you have to do is you have to maintain. I find that I do, because my body is, I'm in my 50s, right? So my metabolism will change as the years go on, and I have to constantly, uh, you know, uh, take care, and yeah, and be aware of that. And it's to me, it's just like, for me, it's almost like, well, I have to maintain. A lot of things. I have to watch my blood pressure. I have to, I'm a recovering addict. That's something that requires some daily maintenance. It's a daily decision not to go out and do drugs, or whatever. So this is kind of like that. It's a daily decision. For me, it's going to be a decision to enjoy this particular crumbly biscuit with this burger, and then later on, I'll probably take the biscuits, set them aside, and use them as breadcrumbs and a filler or something like that. If I make a meatloaf or something like that, that's probably what this is going to end up being. The rest of those, I'll probably end up making them breadcrumbs, and they will work well. Any kind of stuffing or anything like that, they're already flavored, so it will be good for that. So I don't waste food, even if it's crumbly and if it's not the bun that I need it to be. But God, it's just delicious. Hang on. I mean, don't hang on. Love and light. Peace. Bon appetit.